If you're here to find some underappreciated shows or maybe hear me praise a few old favorites, you've come to the right place. This is Restless in Peace, and today we're spotlighting Penguin Highway. I'm Fennec, and I've been an anime fan for almost a decade and have watched hundreds of shows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you haven't seen Penguin Highway, spoilers ahead. Penguin Highway is about a young boy in elementary school named Aoyama. He's a smart kid who wants to grow up fast and is kind of obsessed with researching things. Aoyama is good friends with his dentist, who he also has a crush on. He often plays with her chess after school and she's even the one who taught him how to play. Life goes on normally until one day penguins start appearing randomly in all kinds of places, and Aoyama and his friends find a weird floating orb in the woods behind the town. Nobody knows how or why this is happening, but Aoyama sure is excited to find out. In Penguin Highway, the dentist is only referred to as One-san, so I'm going to refer to her as such. I just know that she's actually she was just never called by any name, okay? Not in the movie. I didn't find anything online. I have no idea what's her name. We're calling her One-san. Aoyama finds out that One-san is the one that's creating the penguins, and that she can create other things such as bats, which she creates in a cafe chess scene that we're gonna go back to a few times in this episode. In that scene, she accidentally turns all the chess pieces into bats after the power goes out and it's dark. Aoyama comes up with a theory throughout the movie that says that what she creates depends on light. He says that she creates penguins in the light and bats in the dark. He bases this on the fact that she was able to create penguins on a sunny day, but that she was unable to do so on a cloudy day. He also bases this theory on the bat incident. In the movie, it's presented as if it makes sense, but I think it's pretty much circumstantial evidence. My theory is that things appear based on her emotions. Let's take this step by step, okay? When she first tells Aoyama that she can create penguins, she describes it as an uncontainable good feeling, followed by her just tossing an object and it turning into a penguin. And we know from the first scene in the dentist's office that she loves penguins. And just a moment before the light went out and she created the bats, she talked about how she's afraid of bats. I think that what she creates is a combination of what creature is on her mind at any given moment and an emotion she identifies with that creature, but that she can only create those creatures if both conditions are met, meaning that she is both thinking of a creature and feeling the emotion she usually associates with that creature. Notice that I'm saying creature and not animal. We'll get to that later. During the first time she showed Aoyama how she creates penguins, she was clearly enjoying herself, and since she purposefully created a creature at the time, and we know that at that point she thought that she can only create penguins, it's safe to assume that she was thinking of a penguin when she did it. The creature she was thinking about was a penguin. And the next day, when Aoyama and One-san tried to recreate the event and failed, since they were trying to recreate it, it's safe to assume that she was thinking about penguins again. But she didn't seem as giddy as yesterday and was getting ticked off pretty easily. Either way, definitely wasn't she wasn't like an, what did I say? An uncontainable good feeling. That was not her. That was not her. Now let's go to the bad incident again. As part of the conversation, One-san told Aoyama that she's afraid of bats, then the lights went out and she asks Aoyama if he's afraid. He said no, and then the chess pieces in front of them turned into bats. So let's go through our process. A. She was definitely thinking about a creature and that creature was definitely bats, because they were talking about it literally 2 seconds ago. And she said she's afraid of them, so the emotion she associates with bats is fear. So the question is, how do we know that she's afraid? We don't really have any cold hard facts in order to answer this, but we do have my life experience, which is how I know that the key point of information in the scene is when One-san asks Aoyama, "Are you afraid?" I've learned over the years that people often ask others questions that they want to be asked themselves. When she asked him, "Are you afraid?" I think she wants him to ask her that, to which she might reply, a little bit, which would probably garner her some sympathy and maybe make her feel a bit better. Basically, by asking him if he's afraid, now that the lights are out, especially with how she asks him, she's essentially just coming right out and saying, "I'm afraid." So now we have both her thinking about bats and her feeling the emotion she associates with them. But up till now, I've just shown as much evidence as Aoyama has. What makes my theory better? Well, remember when I pointed out earlier that I'm talking about creatures and not animals? About half an hour into the movie, we found out that One-san is having trouble sleeping because she keeps having nightmares about a monster that appeared in a book she's reading. It's called the Jabberwocky, and it's become another creature that she associates with fear. You get where I'm going with this. I'm pretty sure you get where I'm going with this. Around halfway around the movie, maybe a bit more, sightings of a bizarre creature start spreading around town. Like I said, you get where I'm going with this. Now is where we're getting into the weird part. In the woods behind the town, there is a floating orb of water that keeps expanding, and anything it touches gets swallowed up and disappears. You can think of this orb as a hole in the universe, and when they attack the orb, you can think of the penguins as trying to repair that hole in the universe. And when the hole is repaired, One-san and all the creatures she has created will disappear. One-san has, as she puts it, a lingering attachment to this world. Regardless of what she is, she has lived here her entire life. I imagine that the thought of disappearing is kinda scary. She's afraid. And we know that the Jabberwocky has been on her mind lately, and you add on to that they just so happen to only eat penguins, and which is the one thing that could make her disappear, being that the penguins attack the hole, and the hole, when it disappears, she disappears, it's not hard to connect the dots. So, I hereby declare that my theory is superior to Aoyama's theory, because I have more evidence. Bam! Finally, I do recommend you watch Penguin Highway if you haven't, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with friends.